Plaintiff Earl Howard says the defendants are his daughters, and he was married to their mother for 34 years. Earl claims he divorced the defendant's mother 10 years ago, but he was devastated when the defendants refused to let him attend her funeral. So he's suing for emotional distress and defamation. Defendants Tina Weaver and Bambi Elliott say there's a long history of child abuse and spousal abuse at the hands of Earl. Tina claims her mother was abused throughout their 34-year marriage, and it didn't stop after the divorce. Tina and Bambi insist their mother did not want Earl at the funeral, and they're simply fulfilling her last wishes. They're countersuing for emotional distress.
Tell me what happened.
Judge, my name is Earl Howard, as you know. I'm from the state of Maine, and these are my 3 daughters.
The one sitting at the defendant's.
Yes.
She's your daughter
that's
also.
my baby daughter.
Gotcha.
I married their mother in May 24th of '68. I love my girls, and like you say, hard love. I've watched it before.
Tough love.
Tough love.
Emphasis on love.
Okay, sorry. What happened is their mother died on June 9th last year, 2009, and I never knew she was in the hospital. I never got a call.
So you all had been divorced?
Yes, we were divorced in 2001, Judge Mathis.
Divorced in 2001?
Yes.
And she passed in 2009?
Yes.
Had you all had much communication between 2001 and 2009?
Up until, oh yes, we did, up until 2005. Okay. Then there was a dispute, and I got arrested on the dispute, and I have stuff here for you to show you.
All right, before we get to your evidence, let me allow them to give some background. Ladies?
First of all, I would like to say, as far as being sued by my own father for emotional distress or defamation of character is totally absurd. There's a long, long history of not just child abuse for all 4 of us daughters. There's only 3 here today, and as well as my mother.
What type of child
who has
abuse?
Passed. There is emotional abuse.
Physical abuse.
There is physical abuse.
How often?
At least 4 times a week.
Physically abused?
Yes.
Okay.
Not just with us kids, but with my mother as well.
All right.
Yeah, and that was throughout the course of the 34 years that my mother and my father were married.
Okay.
They did divorce in 2001. Mm-hmm. The abuse did not stop in 2001.
How did he get access to her after that?
Because my mother had lived with me and my family. My mother was trying to be the bigger person and let bygones be bygones. Okay. My father would come down to my house with his girlfriend and chit-chat, have coffee, until 2005 when my mother was home. I was at work, my husband was at work, and my father had come down. There was an agreement about some VCR movies that I was supposed to have purchased them off of my father. My 4-year-old daughter was home, left with my mom. She would take care of my daughter while me and my husband
And what happened?
Worked.
Sir, do you want to address that?
That's wrong, Judge.
You never did?
No, I never did. If they get out of hand, Your Honor.
No, I'm talking about your wife.
No, I never abused my wife.
All right.
I never hit her.
How often did you whip them, if at all?
I didn't whip them hardly at all. But if they did something,
what do you mean by tough love?
I don't know, really. I'm just trying to listen. When I listen to you, I hear you.
I understand.
No,
but
there was
I
no
say
abuse.
it in the context of discipline.
No, there was no abuse. There was discipline.
Yes. Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I remember being a little girl and having to kneel on raw rice in front of the refrigerator.
With your hands out.
With all my body weight on my knees and that rice being embedded into my knees. Yeah. I remember that. I remember the feeling of that. And it wasn't...
Why is she crying?
Because she had to endure the same thing
Why do you think she's crying?
That wasn't done, Your Honor.
No, I know.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
just
That
curious.
was not done.
I know. I'm just curious. If you can speculate at all why your daughter, who has nothing to do with the case, why is she sitting there crying?
Because she's going along with her sister.
So you believe that because she's going to come here and lie with her sisters, that causes her to burst out and cry like that?
No.
When a person is coming to lie, they don't fake crying until they get up and it's their time to talk. Did you want to talk now, young lady? I know you've been
Yes.
holding up your hand. Do you want to talk or you want to wait?
No,
Go ahead. What do you want to tell me?
we have lived like this since we were little, and my mother, and we seen it. We had to lie for him all the time. Him hitting us, even when we went to school.
Him hitting my mother and having to go to the hospital, Your Honor. I remember an incident when I was still at home and I was about 17 years old. And him and my mother get into another, I should say normal, because you get used to it, fight. And he threw my mother into the dishwasher. Calm down.
Pushed her into what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm the one that took my mother to the hospital.
Did your mother or you all ever have the courage to prosecute him?
No, I got to the hospital, and when the doctor asked what happened to my mother's arm, I looked at my mother and I looked at the doctor and I said, she fell off the ladder. Because we didn't know what would happen when we got back home.
Your testimony appears to be true, but I can't absolutely conclude that, but it seems to be credible. But sir, you're denying everything that they allege. You say it's total lies, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's move to why you're suing them today.
My oldest daughter, Bambi, called me up and said, Dad, Ma just died. We took her off the respirator, and you can't come to the funeral and you can't come to the wake. That's my emotional distress.
Did they have police or something?
No, they
Why
just
didn't
told
you
me not
go
to go.
anyway?
Your Honor, I went up to the funeral home with my fiancée, Kathy. We parked across the street. I was waiting for my daughter, Tina. Bambi come flying out of the nursing home. She wanted to start fighting with me, and she called me every
Nursing or funeral?
Funeral home.
funeral home.
Gotcha.
And she started on me. She was trying to open my door of the car to get at
that's a
me.
lie.
And my
Honor.
daughter, Tina, come out and pulled her off and said, Dad, go. And I
Honor,
went.
That's not how it happened.
And I have a witness, Your Honor.
You all tell me.
The three of us were sitting at the funeral director's table making our mother's funeral arrangements.
It wasn't the wake. It wasn't the
Let's
funeral.
back up to you all notifying him of the death and
Yes, I did.
instructing him not to come.
First of all, this was the day I had to make my mom's funeral arrangements. I was her power of attorney, so I had to do all of that. I called my sisters. I was not able to call my father and let him know
So she called
that
her?
my mother
All right,
passed
tell me
away.
what was said when you called, ma'am.
And I called and I said, Dad, I just want to let you know that Ma passed away, but her last rites was for you not to.
her last wishes.
Who
Her
did she
last
tell that
wishes.
to?
All of us
All of
girls.
us.
All right. And so what happened
Then-
at the funeral home?
So I went out and I said, my sisters were upset, so obviously I was the oldest. I went out and I told my father, I said, Dad, we don't want you here. Ma did not want you here. Leave. And he started saying stuff, and he tried to get out of the car after me, and I was screaming at that time. He scares all of us so much, and he scared me. I peed my pants. Right out in public, you know.
Your
I
Honor,
was
that's
scared.
not true.
That is true, Your Honor.
That is
And
true.
I
My
had to
witness.
run out from that funeral home, Your Honor.
And shut
And
the
I
car
literally
door, because
put
he
my
was
butt
coming
on
after
that
me.
door. Because I seen him getting out, and I literally put my butt on that door
To stop
like
him from getting
this.
me.
with my sister here and my father in that car. I did that, and I
Not true,
turned
Your Honor.
around and I told him, you need to leave.
It's not true.
So
No.
that's why you're suing for emotional distress, because they told you you couldn't come to the funeral?
Yes. I have my fiance here. She was right
Step
with
up.
me.
Come on up, man. State your name.
Kathy Dumont?
He ever assaulted you?
No, he has not. Out of 7 years I've been with him, he's never assaulted me once.
Okay, go ahead.
We went to he got the phone with Bambi, and then he did call Tina, and Tina said after the funeral we can go down to the house. He figured we'd go down and wait across the parking lot for her to come out, and we'd follow her down to her house.
Did you all tell him that?
Yes, I told, because he asked me.
Hold on. You told him he couldn't come to the funeral home or to the funeral, but you told him he could come to the aftermath? Because what?
His brothers were at
Hold on, let me listen to her. Because what?
His two brothers were there to carry my mom's casket, and he wanted to go. He told me he would not be at that funeral home. If I can just go and see my brothers, there will not be a problem.
So
he
that's
did not
why.
do that.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Bambi comes storming out of the funeral parlor, the door slamming open, come running across, and she did try to open the car door to go after her father.
Oh, my
And he
God.
was trying to shut the door, or pulling it in. I was right there all the time, and they were saying bad, she was saying bad words.
How did it end?
We left.
Okay.
Right before the cops came.
Okay. Anyone have a police report?
Yes, I do have a
What
police
happened when the
report.
police came? Or he had gone?
Yeah, he
he
had
left.
already left, and the police officer.
Defamation, how did they defame your character?
My oldest daughter is the one that told my brothers that I killed their mother.
My God, that's
Did you
not
tell
even-
someone that?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Do you have a letter from that brother?
I tried to call them and they wouldn't talk to me. And that's
Your
just
own
what they
brother.
told
Your
me.
brother won't deal with you
No,
either.
because they lied to him.
Your
They
Honor,
believed her. They
Yep.
took their side.
Yep.
Your
Why
Honor.
do you think your brothers took their side?
I have no idea. I haven't seen my brothers for 3 years.
Did you ask them why?
No, they just told me.
Well, they believed
Your Honor.
her over you.
Yep.
All right. And you say you didn't tell anyone that he killed your mother?
No, I
All
never
right.
heard that story
Your
before.
counterclaim, you're suing him for emotional distress for what?
for all the abuse, not just us, but watching the abuse go through from my mother, for all his lies,
Right.
for the fear that 45 years later
We still have.
we still have.
Unfortunately, ladies, you cannot sue for emotional distress for having been beaten or abused as a child when you are now 41 and 45. With regard to your claim, sir, I am not convinced that they caused you emotional distress. I believe what they described about you, I don't know if every detail is as they said it is. So if I am to believe what they say about you for the most part, then if I had to make a decision based on who's telling the truth about who caused emotional distress, I would believe them. But I'm not absolutely convinced of that. So you haven't proven that. And so I'm going to dismiss your claim. Have a good day. Both of your cases are dismissed.
I didn't bring them up to lie, and I never beat them. Never beat them. And I never beat their mother. In 34 years, I never pushed her, I never did nothing. We had arguments, but I never touched that woman.
Stay away.
We don't want anything to do with you. Leave us alone.
Hopefully it'll end here. Hopefully we can get on with our lives and be better parents to our kids.
I feel the same as my other two sisters. I don't want anything to do with him. I haven't in the past 6 years. And I want to keep it that way because we're all just afraid of him.